Good morning, students. So today I'll be continuing with what we left off. So today I'll start with access specifiers. This is also called as access modifiers. Now there are three access specifiers in C++. Okay, so you have private, public, private, and protected. So we'll see all three of them one at a time. Okay, so there are three access types, and therefore the three corresponding C++ keywords can be used in C++ class are public, private, and protected. So the public access level means that a member that task access can be used without any restrictions. Okay, ideally only member functions that are responsible for communication between the structure and the outer world should be declared as public. So first we'll see public access specifiers. Now access specifiers, they are used to implement one very important features of object oriented programming. Okay, that is data hiding. I already explained to you what is data hiding. We have seen that abstraction, encapsulation. So in encapsulation, we have this one important thing that is called as data hiding, right? So uh, we discussed earlier about the encapsulation. So how a class encapsulates data members and member functions of an object. We already know that a class is used to define an object. So a class encapsulates the members of the object, that is the data members and member functions, right? So that part of encapsulation has one more features called as these access specifiers. So when you make so using access specifier, it is also called as access modifier, when it is made private, okay, then it is called as data hiding. So data hiding is implemented. Now say like an example. Okay, what is the use of this access specifier, or this feature was there, this feature, why is this feature included in this C++, why this was not there in structure, right? So that was the main disadvantage of the structured programming. So you think about in terms of security also. Like if you think about, suppose like here, it's made this access specifier is made as public. Now when you make it private, what happens is that these data members cannot be accessed directly by the object also. So what happens is that if suppose like employees, right? So in order to access these members, you need the member function or you need the uh, object, right? So just imagine like suppose like details about some very important employees, right? So if it is made public, any object can access any, that means any object means any employee, right, can access the details about anyone else. So in terms of security, when it is made private, only those who have the security passage can access that. Okay, so figuratively speaking. So I hope you have understood something bit about the importance of access specifier with that example. Okay, now coming back to the public access specifier. Okay, now uh, keep in mind that access specifier is used to set the accessibility of class members. Okay, that is, it sets some restrictions on the class members, uh, so not to get access directly by non-member functions. Okay, so the main thing is it puts restrictions so that non-member functions, okay, functions that are not a member of the class cannot access it. Okay, so only the member functions can access it. Now public access specifier, so that means now this is, you can compare this in terms of like global variables, right? A global variable is accessible by all the functions or any part of the program, right? In any part of the program. So now public access specifier. uh, the new keyword public states that anything following this keyword can be accessed from outside this class. Okay, see, following this keyword can be accessed from outside this class. Okay, not only within this class, but anything that is declared within this class, not only within this class but outside of the class also, it can access these members. Okay, so the public member define how a non-member function can use the class. So keeping in mind that uh, an object is this a class defines an object. So this is the state and behavior of the object, right? So this is the state and behavior of the object. So when it is made public, an object can directly access it, okay, and make changes to the data. Okay, so but even non-member functions, when I'm talking about non-member functions here, uh, if you see this particular example, okay, program, this is a member function void display, because this is defined within this is declared within the class definition. Okay, in the case of this one, general function body, okay, void employee out display underscore display. Okay, this one is a non-member function because this is defined outside of the class. This function is not a part of the class. Okay, neither is it in the main function. Okay, so so that is public access specifier. Okay, now so here the function void display is declared outside following the keyword public. Okay, this class contains the class visibility label public to its data member also. Okay, so like I said, okay, access, how is an access specifier denoted? By the keyword public private protected followed by a colon, right? Like I said that the use of a colon we have already seen in switch statement go to, right? uh, Anything preceded by that the word preceded before a colon is considered as a label. Okay, so this class contains the class visibility label public to its data members also. Okay, by declaring a class member public, you make the member accessible to both member and non-member functions. Okay, so by this you can understand well. Okay, now uh, the function is public and available for use by any calling program that is within the scope of this object. Okay, so what does that mean? Is public. Okay, so here you can see that uh, this access specifier has been made public within the class declaration. So here the data members are public. Okay, also at the same time this member function is also public. Okay, so the function is public and available for use by any calling program. Okay, any calling program that is within the scope of this object, since this belongs to the object. Okay, any calling program. So how will the object of the class access this? Okay, with the member functions, or directly assign it to these variables, right? So calling when you say calling program, right? So in here, if you can see here, uh what is that? Mm, yeah, here emb dot display, right? So this is the calling function. Okay, so any calling function. Okay, by that is by the object. Now you should keep in mind that the private variable is not available. Okay, is not available to the calling program. Okay, thus you can only use the variables by calling one of the two functions defined within the public part of the employee class. This is called member functions because they are members of the class. Okay, So regarding the private access specifiers, it's in the next page. I'll discuss that. Okay, now come back to this program. Okay, so from this program, I'll make you understand better about this public access specifier. Now, for those of you who have been sincerely studying this C++ programs, okay, from class 11 programs and this class 12 programs also, okay, you will find that my explanation, okay, bit easier to catch up. Okay, for those of you who are facing problem, okay, you seriously need to study hard. Okay, you have not been paying attention in class 11. Okay, and if you don't pay attention now, okay, you will not understand any part of it. Okay, so if you are facing any problem, okay, if you have any doubts, you can ask me. And since the textbook is with you, okay, and you have lots of uh, online tutorials, okay, ebooks, refer to the class 11 textbook. Okay, what you don't understand, what is variable, data types, all those things, okay, go back. Okay, and then after that you can come back. Okay, and then you can compare the programs. Okay, so be sincere in your programming. Now here you can see that to demonstrate, the first part is the comment section, demonstrate the access specifier public. Okay, here we start with the header files, iostream. It always starts with iostream. Next we have the string.h. Now why are we using this string.h? As you can see that we are using some certain functions which is called as string copy, which is a part of this string header file. Okay, uh, again we have this studio.h. Okay, standard input output. Okay, so here is your general class definition. Okay, so here you are, this is your keyword class, this is the class name, which is user defined data type. Okay, so employee, so within this opening and curly bracket ended by the semicolon till here, we have our class definition. Okay, so here the access specifier is public, which means all of these variables, okay, can be accessed outside of the class. Okay, outside of the class also. So uh, as you can see that the data types are of different data types. Okay, so we have integer employee code, which will store integer values. We have character, okay, the array name is emp name. Okay, so subscript is 20. Okay, so similarly employee designation 15, float, which stores decimal point values. Okay, so employee salary. And then member function prototype declaration. Okay, so here you can see that this is a function prototype, that means a function declaration. This is a normal function uh, declaration. Okay, so when it is declared like this, okay, this is considered as a prototype. Now if you go back to the previous page, okay, now this one is the function definition, right? Within the class you are defining the function body. Okay, so this is function definition. So now what is the difference between a member function? Okay, where was I? Okay, what is the difference between a member function? Okay, what now, try to understand this. What is the difference between a member function, okay, defined inside the class, the previous one, okay, or declared inside the class? Okay, so difference between member function defined inside the class, that means the function body is also uh, written inside the class. Okay, or okay, just including its declaration as it is here. Okay, including its declaration, that is defining the function. Okay, defining the function outside the class. So the function definition is here outside of the class, that means the body of this function is here outside of the class, right? So the difference is, okay, in the first case, that means in here, okay, in here, in this is just a function definition, right? This is inside the class. Okay, in this case, the function becomes an inline member function. Okay, now what is inline member function? Okay, inline, that is in the later part. Okay, I'll come back to that. Okay, so by default it is made inline. Okay, so now, or uh, while in the second case, okay, in the second case, that is this one, okay, this is just a normal class member function declaration. Okay, the way it is usually declared a function. Okay, so that is the main difference. Okay, now what is the advantage of classes and object? Another thing, the class reduces the need to carry and pass variables or arguments to functions, that is calling functions, to call functions, because they are all part of the object. I'll repeat that, okay, when we come to this part. So first is, so this is the member function declaration, the function prototype. Now coming back to the main function, as you can see here, a class is used to declare an object. So here you are creating an object by the name emb. This is the class name. Only with the class name you can declare an object. Okay, so now since this is public, keep in mind that since the data members member functions are public, the object, you can initialize the variables directly with an object. So here emb.emb code. Okay, emb.emb code is equals to 100, so that value is stored in emb code. Similarly, string copy, yesterday I explained to you about string copy. That's why we have that string header file. So string copy is a string manipulation function. What it does is it copies the contents of, after this commit, copies the contents of this string s2 to s1, that is emb.emb name. Okay, similarly here it copies pgd computer to emb.emb designation. Okay, and stores the data here. So that is what this string copy function is does. So using the object, you are able to assign the value to the variable. Okay, now if you come back to the next page, here again emb.emb salary equals to 12,500. See out, here's the employee information. Then for the for loop, this is just for this equal to. Okay, so now here is the calling function. So after the value has been assigned, after the value has been entered, this, since this value is already in the pre-written in the program, from the program itself, so the user is not actually entering anything from the keyboard. Directly run this program, and then since compile it, and then process it, and then display the value. So here the next step after entering the value is to display it, right? To display. So that is why the appropriate function name is given emb.display. So this is the calling function. The purpose of this calling function is to call this call function. This call function. Okay, so this is the call function or the function definition. So this function definition is declared outside of the class. Why? Because in the class you have the function declaration. Okay, so since the function is declared in the inside the class, so the function body is outside, the function definition is outside of the class. Okay, so now the calling function will call this function to execute. And as you can see that, how do you identify, how do you display this cout statement is by associating this member function with the class name using the scope resolution operator. So by that, this member function can be identified with this class employee, okay, using this scope resolution operator. Clear? So by default, the return type of the class is void. Okay, as you can see that there is simple cout statement to be executed. So when this function body gets run, executed, so cout employee code will display the value emb code employee name will display the value emb name. Okay, employee designation will display the value emb designation. This is just the comments, this, okay, within the string comments. So employee salary will display emb salary. Okay, now after that the control comes back to the main function and then executes the next line, cout nl. Again we have the equal to symbol, which is executed 32 times, which is displayed 32 times. And then after that, here, now there is a difference between the previous program and this program. This is the main difference. Here you can see that another uh, calling function is there. Okay, emb out underscore display, and then within the bracket emb. So what it does is it passes this object as an argument. Okay, no, so that is what I was being that is what I was talking about, the advantage of having classes and objects. Okay, so class reduces the need to carry and pass the variables or arguments to functions from the calling function to the call function. Okay, because these data members and member functions are all part of the object. So when you pass the object as an argument to the call function here, okay, so the data members and the member function, since it is public, can be accessed directly by this non-member function. Here this void display is a member function of this class, so that is why it is associated with this class name employee using the scope resolution operator. Are you clear on that? Says this Since this void display is a member function of this class employee, so in order to associate that with the class employee, we use the scope resolution operator to tell the compiler that this member function display belongs to the class employee. So that way directly the data can be displayed. But in the case of this non-member function, okay, in order for this non-member function, so we use the object as pass the object as an argument using this by this non-member function, since these non-member functions wants to access the data members. So like I said, when the data members, when these data members and member functions are made public, other than the object, any non-member functions, or other than the member function, its member function, other non-member functions can also access these data members. So this emb out underscore display is a non-member function. So how do you do it? So instead of passing all in the function chapter, pass by value, pass by reference, like the right, okay, pass by address. So instead of doing the long process using a shortcut method, just by passing the object as an argument with the non-member function, okay, what you do is that directly you are passing all the data members and member functions of this object by this member function, okay, by this non-member function. So here that is, so this is the so what it does is it calls this function body to be executed, void employee out underscore display. And then here you can see that this is here here when the when the object is passed as an argument, here another object is declared using the class employee. Okay, so another object emb1 is declared using the class employee. So if you see the non-member function body, okay, see here emb1 dot employee code, right? So as you can see that we another object is created by the class, since uh, in the case of this, as you can see that in the main function, using the object emb, employee code already has the value 100, and in emb name already has the value Sujata computer and salary also has the value 12,500, right? So another object needs to be created. Okay, so that is emb1. Okay, so emb1 accesses this variable and then stores the value 101. So this emb code equals to 100, and this emb code equals to 101, and this emb code equals to 100 are two different very memory storage location because of this object emb and emb1. I hope you got it. Okay, so similarly the rest of the variables data members are also filled up, assigned. Okay, and then directly you run the cout statement and then you get the value. Okay, so so keep in mind that uh, the use of the class, it reduces the need to carry, okay, to carry uh, the or pass the variables or arguments to the functions, to the call functions from the calling function, like that. Okay, otherwise in the case of this, see, so since this emb1 can directly access the employee code, employee name, employee designation, employee salary. You got it. So here, from the above program, the function void employee emb out underscore display, okay, employee emb1 is not member function of the class employee. So it is not member function. It is non-member function. It is a different function which does not belong to the class employee, but it accesses the data members of the employee class using emb1 object. Okay, so emb1 object, because the data members in the employee class is declared as public. So since it is declared as public, so another object emb1 can access that data members. So how do you access the data members? Using the object, using the member functions, right? So using the object emb1, the new object, you are able to assign the value to the data members, and using the non-member function, that is this uh, e, uh, emb out underscore employee, right? You are able to access the data members and store the value. Got it? And display the value. So now, thus, the public data members can be accessed outside the class either in the member function or general function, that is the non-member function. Okay, so uh, that is a non-member function takes an object of class employee as its argument, can also access the public members. So I hope that you have understood more in details about public access specifiers. Now